I think the biggest takeaway that I want people to take away from this podcast and this episode is you need to strength train, you need to run, not just for body composition goals, benefits, but for health benefits too as well. Yeah. We were just having a deep conversation and before this podcast, and you only get one life. Like you only get so many years, and I don't want people to waste those years not reaching for their personal goals. Before we hop into today's topic, we want to thank you for tuning into the podcast and supporting our brand. Over the last 3 years, this brand has strived to help people reach their fitness goals, feel their best in their workout apparel, and support their fitness goals through our supplements.
So if you would like to support our brand, head over to fitgrindformula.com and check out our new protein powder, grab a new Fit Grind apparel outfit, and we just want to say thank you guys for all your support for the last 3 years.
Let's hop into today's episode.
Welcome back to our podcast. Today is season 2, episode 2. Today we're going to be talking about how we are balancing our weight training and our running combined.
Yeah, today we're really going to talk about what our program is that we're currently doing. So currently we're training for the Nebraska Half Marathon on April 28th. We both have some goal times that we are shooting for, and we're going to go over the training and why it's important to still strength train when you have a running specific race or an endurance specific race. Those two things do really go hand in hand, and I think a lot of people go wrong where they will train for a race or a half marathon, and they'll kind of forego a lot of strength training. Yeah. But today we're going to talk about, from not only just a programming standpoint, but also an injury prevention standpoint and overall body composition standpoint, why you should continue to strength train even if you have an endurance specific race scheduled.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely complement each other. I think weight training complements your running complements your weight training overall.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so let's dive into our first topic. Let's talk about our programming and kind of what that looks like.
So yeah, currently we can run through our full program, and we're documenting this each week on our YouTube channel. So if you'd like to see the visual aspect and kind of see the workouts that we're doing, go check out our YouTube channels in combination with this podcast, because that's really the whole idea, is to really dive specifically into really specific topics on this podcast platform and go through things in a little bit more detail. But both of us are also posting on our YouTubes the content, the workouts, the nutrition, the day in the lives, all those types of things. So if you are interested in this topic, definitely go check out our YouTube channels at Alyssa Mueller Fitness.
Yeah, got to change that.
Yeah, you got to change that. And Jordan Schaefer Fitness. So, but yeah, our program. So we are currently running 4 days a week, and we are lifting 4 days a week.
Yep.
Typically, both of us are coming from backgrounds of strength training, where, I mean, in our past, we've strength trained 6 to 7 days a week. So this is a little bit more where our strength training volume is down, lower than it would normally be.
Yeah, for sure.
But we can dive into our full program, the days that we're doing, the mileage that we're doing. Obviously, each week in our 12-week prep, the mileage is going to build, the tempo is going to build, the paces are going to build, the challenge is going to build, we're going to build more fatigue. But we can kind of talk about what each program is, and I'll let Alyssa take that over and just kind of go through Monday through Sunday what our program looks like and the days that we're hitting specific muscle groups or specific runs.
Yeah, and our weight training might be a little different. On Sundays, we work out together. That's kind
Love
of our
Sunday workouts.
Yeah, that's kind of like our day together. It ends up taking us like over 2 hours, but
the boys hate it. Like, oh, we go to the gym forever.
Yeah.
It's like 3 hours. Like, oh, you're not that far off. It's like 2 hours.
But that's kind of like our Sunday date night, if you will.
Yeah.
So typically Sundays are going to be our combination of weight training and cardio, because we do have the time to do that.
Yep.
And we take Saturdays off, so it allows us to have family time on Saturdays too.
Yep.
But so Sundays, we are doing an aerobic run. So we started with a 3-mile run this week. again, that's going to build over time. And then we do a pull day with that. So with the pull day, it's a little bit shorter of a workout because it's just back and biceps. So that helps when you're pairing those two together back to back. And if you're able to, you can split those up. Personally, on a Sunday especially, I'd just like to come in here and just crank it all out.
Yep.
So we typically will just drink some carb source in between the workouts to keep the energy flowing and keep us going throughout the workout.
So I love our Sunday workouts. That's one thing that I always look forward to. I think we really have always bonded over our love for the gym.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for you and me to take that time and like do a workout together every week. Mm-hmm. We always plan it together on the whiteboard, and like you want to do this, I want to do this, and come up with a workout together. And I really do look forward to that each week, because during the week here we work with each other, but a lot of times our schedules don't exactly line up where we can specifically like do a workout together, or something will come up and we had a workout planned and then it's like, oh, I can't make that work today. So I do always enjoy our Sunday workouts. You mentioned the pull day and the running day.
Yeah.
So going into a little more detail on that, we always start with the lifting first. Now, say that like you're in a marathon prep where your mileage is a little higher, maybe that would be where you would want to separate those workouts. But we would start with our strength training, and then we do our run at the end, especially because it's more of an aerobic run. So it's a run done at a heart rate at or below our max aerobic heart rate. So usually what we'll do is lately we've been running on the assault runners, but we'll just have a conversation, while we're running, and just keep us at a heart rate that we can still talk, which is a good rule of thumb to know that, hey, we're below our max aerobic heart rate.
Yeah, and it distracts your brain a little bit.
Yes, the 30, 40-minute run, whatever it is, goes by quick.
Of being on the treadmill.
Yeah,
too.
And it doesn't have to be treadmill, but we just do that because we usually have our kids here. Mm-hmm. That way, one of us doesn't have to go run, and then, we have to watch the kids, and it could be a whole thing. So you also mentioned the intra-workout. So we always have breakfast, then we'll come to the gym about an hour later. Usually about halfway through our strength training session, we will start drinking on some sort of carbohydrate source, usually coming from like a dextrose powder, or you could do like a Gatorade, or something very simple carb, not something that's super heavy like a potato or rice, just something that's very easily broken down, because that does allow you to keep your energy up, because it's a long workout. A lot of people would split that strength training day up, and they'd split that running day up into two different workouts.
Yeah, I would if I could.
Yeah, but for us, we've done that before, where we did strength in the morning, and then we go back, eat something, and then one of us goes on a run, we watch the kids, hang out, come back, the other goes on a run, and before you know it, it's like 5 o'clock, and it's like, that just doesn't work in our schedule. So we always do it together. But if you're working out for anything longer than 60 minutes, what I always recommend is you need to supplement with some source of carbohydrates, especially if you're strength training and running, or if you're running for more than an hour. You need to fuel those workouts, because you're going to see a huge decrease in performance if you're not. So anything more than an hour, you need at least 20 grams of carbohydrates. And I would almost start using 20 grams of carbohydrates for every 15 to 30 minutes extra that you were doing more than an hour. So if you're working out for 2 hours, you're going to need at least 40 grams of carbohydrates to fuel that workout. So just a good rule of thumb there, something I wanted to add.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And obviously, without getting too much into the nutrition side of things, proper pre-workout meal, and then intra, and then we have a good post-workout meal too, that, and then electrolytes too to rehydrate. So, so
that's our Sunday workout.
So Sunday's a whole thing. So we really had to dive into the full in-depth
strength and running. All
right. So going into Monday's workout, we are going to be doing the same thing. So we have another lift and a run. Same thing, keeping that aerobic style run, monitoring the heart rate, making sure we're not going over that max aerobic heart rate. And then same thing with fueling. But this day we're doing a push day. So it's a little bit longer of a day. We're getting both cardio and strength, again, 2 days in a row. And then we go into our Tuesday, which is just going to be a long run. And with that long run, same thing, keeping that heart rate at a good steady heart rate, making sure it doesn't go over that max aerobic heart rate. And
which is easier said than done.
Yes. Yeah. Especially 7 miles. So I was just kind of thinking about what that looked like this last week for me. We did 7 miles.
We were supposed to do 6. Alyssa did 7.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I also did 6.58, and if you round up, that's 7. So
yes, I wasn't doing that to be an overachiever. I simply screwed up.
She's got ahead of herself. That Tuesday long run in the program, it builds throughout the program.
Yeah.
So half marathon is 13.1 miles. What we build up to is we build up to an 11-mile run by the end of our program. As the program goes along, we're going to use that long run day also to practice half marathon pace. So we both have goal times that we're shooting for. So we're going to use that long run to also build into like running at pace for distance. So like it's pretty cool that we're starting off, with those aerobic long runs, but they will turn into more workouts where they're very high intensity with distance too as well.
What's interesting about that is this time around, I think starting at 7 was like, or it's supposed to be 6, sorry. But
whatever it was,
starting off with that, I was like, wow, this feels good. Whereas like, I think before when we first started prepping for the half marathon, I don't think we were quite up to that 7-6 range.
Yep.
And maybe we were, but it wasn't feeling as good as
for sure
it does now. So
fitness, running in general, but fitness as a whole, it's all about that compounding consistency. Like if you never get out of shape, I say this in my YouTube video coming up this week, and I love this. If you never get out of shape, you don't ever have to get back into shape.
100%.
And I think that what you just said, our first long run of half marathon prep, I finished it and I was like, I could have ran a full half marathon today. Maybe it wouldn't have been at the pace that I want. Full half marathon.
Oh, like the day that you ran okay.
The day we ran 6.58 or whatever it was, I could have ran another 7-ish miles to get that full half marathon. Maybe not at half marathon pace that I'm shooting for, but I have that base and an endurance built. Yeah, and that's a testament to continuing to run even throughout the winter when it's been cold. So I personally just came off of a bulk where I was trying to gain weight, and typically you wouldn't see someone that's trying to gain weight go for runs, but I wanted to try and kind of test that concept that you can't gain weight while running, or runners can't build muscle. Yeah. But you can blend both of those two. But I think that's just a testament to continuing to run and stay in running shape.
Yeah.
Every week we're at least running 10 to 15 miles throughout the winter.
Yeah.
So I really think that's a huge key. If you're looking to get better at running, there's so many different hacks that we'll talk about. But the greatest hack of all of them is just that compounding consistency. Just run continuously. It doesn't have to be a full prep like we're doing all year round. Like that's a good way to get injured. But just continue to run whatever capacity you have or whatever goals you have. Just keep doing that. You will get better over time.
Yeah, even if it's just a mile, whatever it is, intervals, whatever. But it was just cool to see that and be like, wow.
I agree.
Wow, I still, have maintained the shape, even though, like Jordan said, we weren't running as much. But when I'm getting on a tangent, getting off track here, but when we are in that, half marathon prep and then soon to be marathon prep, we are focusing on running. So the time that we aren't focusing on running, we're trying to build muscle and maintain muscle because, like I talked about in the beginning, muscle is going to help you with your runs and prevent injury.
We'll talk about that later for sure. Yeah,
and there's body composition.
Yes, there's a lot of benefits to doing both. Like we said in the beginning, you should always strength train. You should always run. You're going to have different amounts at different times depending on your goals, but you should always do both of those in your program to really maximize your fitness. So I agree 100%. So that long run, it builds in volume and intensity throughout the 12-week prep. So just to recap, we got off tangent, but actually that was good. Just to recap there. So Sunday we do a pull day with an aerobic run. Monday we do a push day with an aerobic run. Tuesday is our long run day. Right now it's an aerobic run day. Wednesday is just, and this is where you can kind of pick and choose. Wednesday is just a lifting day for us. Now for me personally, I'm only strength training lower body once a week. For me, that's something I'm testing out these first couple weeks. As I build some tolerance to the longer running distance, maybe I'll incorporate a second strength training day there for lower body. But for me, on Wednesday, it's a full upper body day. I know that you can kind of talk about what you did on Wednesday. It was a little bit different for you.
Yeah, so I actually ended up doing legs, but my upper body was sore from Monday. It was still sore by, what was that, Wednesday?
Yeah.
So I did legs, but as we continue to tell you what the week looks like, that hurt me
On the back
the
half.
next day.
Yeah.
So, but this is okay. This is good. This is week 1. We're going to make some changes as needed. So yeah, I attempted the lower body and I felt good. Like I was like, my legs were fresh after running those 3 days, and then I was ready to hit legs. But there's a difference between running, soreness, heaviness, I guess, like your legs just get heavy, versus like muscle soreness.
Yep.
And then when you take that and then you combine the two, there's just like heavy.
It's quite the recipe.
Yeah, it's like heavy and sore. And then the next day when we're going to run track workouts that are like, intervals, my legs were trash.
Yeah. So Wednesday moving forward is probably going to be a full upper body day, because Thursday is a track workout or tempo workout. Both of us have kind of benefits of these on our YouTube coming up this week if you're more interested in this topic. But these track workouts are really going to help you improve your VO2 max. They're going to help you get used to just your legs turning over faster and increase your step rate and just be able to become more efficient of a runner. So they are very important, even if you're training for a distance event like a 10K, half marathon, you still want to have some of those track workouts or those higher intensity repeat workouts. So what Alyssa was talking about, she did legs on Wednesday, track workout on Thursday. Well, even, rewind. We ran 4 miles Sunday, 4 miles Monday, 7 miles Tuesday. Wednesday was a lower body workout. Thursday was a 3 mile fast track pace workout, 3 miles of total running volume.
Yeah.
And then Friday was a lower body workout. So it's like when you're strength training and you're running, you do really have to, I think what it all comes down to is think about what your end goal is. What is my current goal? And I think for us, our current goal is to perform our best and PR our half marathon. So that has to take the priority.
Yeah.
Where typically you and me train lower body every single week, twice a week. That's when we're not in a half marathon prep or running event prep. But it is really hard to do that, especially at the intensities that we do our lower body workouts at. Usually when we do lower body, I'm sore for at least 2 or 3 days, which isn't bad, but that can impact your running moving forward. So Friday is a lower body day, a full lower body day with some core.
Upper.
And you did upper, yep.
But I actually swapped those. So I actually did the track, on Friday.
That's right, yep.
And I did upper Thursday.
Yep.
So I think that the muscle fatigue set in on day 2, and that's why the track workout was so hard, even though it was 2 days after legs.
Yep.
That's why.
And just like anything, your body's going to acclimate to, so I don't think there's any program that, within reason, you could be doing 20 exercises for every muscle group every day and also running 40 miles a week. That might be a little bit of overload, too much, overtraining, but your body is going to acclimate to whatever you throw at it within reason. So say that you struggle with the lower body, say that you have weak legs. Maybe that is where you do want to train legs twice a week and just decrease the volume. I think everybody's so different, but like I said, this is our way of documenting what we're doing. This is what our program looks like. Some people are going to want to do more. Some people are going to want to do less. Some people can do more. Some people have to do less because they don't have the time or the ability to. So like I said, just kind of documenting our work that we're doing. This is our way of showing you that to prep ourselves for getting ready for a half marathon. So just to recap everything, Monday is a push day with an aerobic run. Tuesday is a long run day. Wednesday is a full upper body day with no running, just a strength training day. Thursday is a track workout, faster paced, higher intensity workout. Friday is a lower body day, just strength training, no running. Saturday, we take a full rest day, completely rest out of the gym. And then Sunday is a pull strength day, so back and biceps with an aerobic run. So that is our current program that we're doing. We train 6 days a week. We are taking 1 complete day of rest. I think that's something that we found out over the years, that your body, your joints, your mind, your motivation will thank you if you take 1 day of rest. you're not going to lose your fitness. You're not going to lose progress by taking that rest.
Yeah. So a couple things too, like with that is we're still eating. Like on that rest day, we're not like cutting out calories. We're still continuing to eat the same amount of calories. We did notice just this week adding in more running that our hunger has sure
I've been famished.
increased.
Yes.
Sometimes it doesn't like hit you like right away. Like
Mine's always in the night.
Yeah, like after
Always.
I'm done running, it's not like I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hungry right now. It's like you're exhausted, you're thirsty, you're tired. So the thought of food doesn't come on until later on.
Yep.
But even today being a rest day, because today's Saturday, we're filming this today, Saturday. With it being a rest day, we're still going to eat. We're still going to maintain protein so that we can still recover through the workouts that we've done all week.
Yeah, because we have a 2-hour workout tomorrow.
Yeah, and continue to prepare our bodies for this upcoming week. So I just want to mention that too. Don't be afraid of food. Don't forget to fuel your body. And then, as you noticed with our programming, we're doing that 80% of the run. 80% of our runs are going to be in that aerobic state, and then the 20%, which is that one day, is just more of that threshold. So track runs. We'll get into some tempo runs too later. Yep. So yeah, I just want to mention that. And I think too, like I'll probably mess around with that training too. Again, you were talking about this last week, I kind of switched legs and upper body, and I might mess around with that a little bit too. Cause I love leg day. I think it might be like a female thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to mess with like different leg workouts, and some of it doesn't take much volume. So it could just be like some accessory work on the side.
Yeah.
But I feel like that really helps me in my running.
Yeah, you gotta do what's best for your individual goals and your individual needs. So, like for me, I love training legs too, but I carry a lot of fatigue in my legs, not necessarily just from running, but also from like lower body workouts. A lot of the workouts that I'll do are pretty high volume, so there's just a lot of breakdown, and it takes at least a full 3 days for my legs to recover. So that's one thing that you could, if you're going to train legs twice a week, like you just mentioned, in my opinion, I think the best way to do it is to cut the volume down on the workouts a little bit. Still get a couple exercises in, make sure it's balanced, make sure you have some quad dominant movements, make sure that you have some hamstring and glute dominant movements, make sure that you're squatting, you're hinging, you're lunging, you're doing all those basic movements, you're getting some isolation in. Yeah. But you definitely just cut some of the volume down. Maybe you're not doing 5 sets. Maybe you're not doing 4 sets. Maybe you're doing 3 sets on most of your exercises. And maybe you take away one of the exercises. Maybe you normally do like 6 to 7. Maybe you do like 4 to 5 to start. Just see how you feel. You can always add more. Where I always think about is like, you want to make sure that you're not starting off with too much. And I think that's what we always do when we do a program, like being trainers and just like, oh, we're going to do this and this, and this is going to be so badass. But sometimes that backfires. But I always do think that helps when both of us build a program together. Yeah. Because we kind of level each other out, where it's like,
yeah, for sure.
Jordan, that's going to be too much. Like, or Jordan, that's not going to be enough. Like, I think that back and forth is really good to balance the program.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll write a workout on the board and then we'll be like, yeah, I'm toast. Like, I don't even feel my muscles working.
We were going to do that many exercises? Like, what were we thinking? We were jacked up on pre-workout.
Yeah, that's
making
what we were
the workout.
thinking.
Yeah. So that's our current program. What we can kind of dive into next is, why would you want to strength train? Why would you want to run? What are the benefits? What's it going to do for my fitness? How is strength training going to make me a better runner? We can kind of dive into those specific topics and tell you exactly why you should strength train and run, even if you have a distance or a distance event like a half marathon, a marathon scheduled, or something that you're training for.
Yeah, for sure. So strength training and running, like I talked about in the beginning, they complement each other. So to prevent injury by strength training, you are helping complement preventing injury. And then by running, you're complementing your strength training because your body's going to recover quickly in between. Like if you're supersetting, you're going to be able to whip through those supersets a lot quicker if your cardiovascular system is, in good shape.
Yeah. You mentioned there's two things there that you said that we could do a whole podcast on.
Literally.
First thing, injury prevention. If you are just running and you don't, when we run, yes, there is muscular breakdown, but it's, I don't want to dive too deep into this, but you have different muscle fibers and different composition of muscle fibers. So when you're running, you're using a lot more of those slow twitch muscle fibers.
Yeah.
Muscle fibers that are able to contract for a long time and very repetitively. Those muscle fibers don't have a lot of ability to have growth, to have hypertrophy and strength. They don't have a lot of power output. They're better for endurance. So when we're strength training, we're training more of our faster twitch muscle fibers. Those are the muscle fibers that are more important for strength, for actually causing hypertrophy, so actually building muscle tissue. So if you're completely neglecting strength training, what's happening is you're breaking down muscle tissue, you're breaking down the joints, and if you don't have muscle tissue to support those joints, namely your ankles, your knees, and your hips, then it becomes this longevity issue where you're going to start to run into injuries, these little pains, these little deficiencies, or maybe you're compensating in certain ways because you have an imbalance in strength. And that's such a huge thing that you need to incorporate both those things. Even if you're only strength training a couple days a week, maybe it's not your thing, but still do it. If you're all in on running and you're like, I'm going to be the next great runner, or I just love running a bunch each week, still do strength training. There's a huge benefit to it. And then you also mentioned cardiovascularly. Obviously, running helps, yes. But right now, I can tell you, I feel in the best shape I've ever felt cardiovascularly. Even when I was doing workouts where I thought I was in really good shape, where it was just strength training. I wasn't running 3 or 4 years ago or doing
Intervals,
really any
you were
cardio.
doing
Yeah.
more of.
I was doing more higher intensity intervals, but I wasn't doing distance stuff. It just helps you stay with rest times so much better. It helps you deliver blood and oxygen to your muscles so much better. Like I was doing a leg press the other day in my leg workout, and I was doing heavy sets. I had 4 sets of 12, and I was trying to stick to a minute rest. And I was able to recover within that minute.
Yeah.
Whereas normally, like if I think back 3 or 4 years ago when I wasn't running or doing any cardio other than like sprints on a bike or a treadmill, shit, I would have needed like 3 minutes in between sets to fully recover.
You almost
Otherwise, I would
would
have been yakking in the bathroom. Like
you would almost like get not mad, but like irritated because like I would always like be going quick, moving quick.
I was irritated that I couldn't keep up with it. That's the truth, and I will admit that.
No, but it was just harder to work out together, I think, because it was like, you know, obviously you lift heavier, so it's going to be more, you need maybe more rest in general,
maybe more
but
physically taxing.
Yeah, but I was just like moving a minute to 90 seconds rest in between, but yeah, it definitely helps cardiovascularly.
Yeah. So I think what I want you to take away from this, and this is typically men think that they need to be big and strong. And yeah, like there is like this like, I don't want to say
stigma.
Aggression, but like there is this like almost aggression that you bring into strength training. And I love that aspect of it. But if you're a guy out there and you're just lifting, I challenge you to start to add some running into your program or cardio of any kind, because what's going to happen is you're not going to lose muscle. So we can drop that fear. What's going to happen is you're going to start to build a very efficient cardiovascular system, and you're going to maybe improve your body composition. You're going to be able to stick to rest times better. You're going to get a better pump in your muscles because your cardiovascular system is what's sending that blood to working muscles. And overall, you're just going to feel better. Like I feel very balanced. I feel very healthy. So guys out there, I challenge you. If you're just strength training, I challenge you to add some cardio in and try it out and stick with it. Be consistent with it and give it 6-12 months, and you're going to be amazed at how much better you really feel and how healthy you really feel. I think that's the big takeaway there.
Yeah, for sure. So like you said, guys, you're not going to be losing your muscle mass as long as you're putting more food into your body, because it is going to take on more, you're going to burn more calories when you start running, and you're going to feel that hunger. But I would start off doing like, you know, like I said, Jordan was doing just interval training, and that's great, but it can be more taxing on your body, and it can be harder to recover if you're strictly just doing like 3 days a week of interval training and then 6 to 7 days a week of strength training, your body, I mean, it's a lot more taxing on your body. So if you implement maybe 2 of those days to be more of an aerobic run and then have the higher intensity day, I think that also would be more beneficial overall too.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're only doing higher, like I've always loved to run hard or like really bike really hard, that like, oh my God, I'm like dying type of feeling. But if you're only ever doing that higher intensity, you're only improving one part of your cardiovascular system. You have your anaerobic energy system and you have your aerobic energy system. So with that, if you're just doing high intensity, you're just improving that anaerobic energy system. And that's not an energy system we use all the time. So you have to have different intensities. And that's the whole idea behind why we are doing some runs at very low intensities. And when I say low intensities, like our long runs and our aerobic runs, they're still challenging. Like don't think they're easy, for sure. But it's done intentionally at a lower heart rate to reap the benefits that we want to improve.
And recover so that we can continue to run throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah, if we only did high intensity runs, our knees and hips and muscles would be shot and we wouldn't be able to get the volume that we need to create the overload, to create the stimulus, to see the progress that we want to see. So you have to really be intentional with that. And I think that's something that you just learn over time. I think that a lot of times in fitness, the more is better mindset gets amplified, and it's like, another topic. Okay, I can do this, but now I got to set the bar higher, so I got to do more. Yeah. And yes, in some degree, like you have to do, you have to create some sort of stimulus on the body, but that doesn't necessarily always have to be more at harder paces or harder intensities. Like it sounds so counterintuitive, but our whole podcast last week was about running slower to run faster. That is one of the biggest changes that you can make right now that is going to make a difference in becoming a better runner.
Yeah, and help your heart for sure.
Yeah, and just improve your health. Exactly. So always be looking for ways that you can get better, but you also need to realize that like you have to be able to recover from what you're doing in order for it to work and be consistent and really stay with that program.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so let's move into the next topic about strength training and how it can improve our body composition and running.
Like we talk about, you need to blend both of those. And that really is the perfect blend in your training. Like you said, they really do complement each other. By strength training, you're going to build muscle tissue, build strength, and be able to support your joints on those runs and the amount of impact that we're doing, but also just be able to have muscle mass and have strength and ability and functionality to do the things that you want to do. Whereas if we're just running, you've seen classic runners, distance runners where they don't carry a lot of muscle mass on their frame. So strength training is going to help improve that body composition and help you maintain muscle mass. Therefore, it's going to help increase your resting metabolic rate and help you just be able to burn enough calories just through your resting metabolic rate, which is a whole nother topic that we could get into. But there definitely is important to blend both of these in your program in order to, and I don't want to talk about, achieving the physique that you want, but
I was going to go there.
Yeah, just kind of like, just if you have body composition based goals, it is important to strength train in your program.
Yeah. Because it definitely gives you that look that you're trying to create. When people say they want to be tone, I get that, but that can be so many different things. Mm-hmm. When I think of tone, I think of so many different things, and people think of that so differently. But when I think of tone, I actually think of the perfect combination of weight training and cardio, because the cardio is gonna help you shed some of that fat, along with the weight training. Honestly, both of them are both good fat burning sources, but also it's great for longevity. So there's benefits to overall appearance and how you look, but obviously fitness is more than just that, and it's going to stabilize joints and give you that lifelong longevity that you're looking for. As we age, muscle is going to be one of the key components that we want to hold on to. You know, those are the things that are going to help us get up and down from a chair, climb up the stairs. If you want to be a grandparent who can go out to watch your grandkids at their, sporting events and walk up those bleachers, like you need that muscle to help support. And that cardiovascular system to also get you up and down the stairs. So it's just important for more than just looks, but balancing out the two together. Sorry, I went on a tangent again there, but balancing out the two together overall and the benefits of that is just there's just so many different benefits that not only, like you said, not only looks, but overall
health and performance. Yeah, for sure. And I think too, for me, what it does is it helps me not mentally get fatigued from one thing. So I think where I've been, over the last, so we've both been in the gym for the last decade plus, and primarily most of the time in our gym has been strength training. Like that's our deep roots background, and I love strength training. So don't think that I don't love strength training. I still love it. I enjoy it. But for me, when I do the same thing over and over and over again, it gets repetitive. And by running and lifting, it allows me to always be kind of having different focuses. And I think the cool thing about it too is, say like, hey, I want to put some muscle on here, here, and here. I'm going to shift more of my focus towards strength training. Still going to run, but maybe we're going to up the strength training and down the running. And okay, hey, I want to go run a half marathon or a marathon or whatever I want to train for. Okay, I'm going to increase my running. I'm still going to strength train, but I'm going to decrease the amount of running volume. And you can go through these phases up and down, or just even split between running and lifting based on your personal goals. And I think what that does is it allows you to always have that little bit of excitement for training, where I never want to lose that fire or that spark to train. And by blending running and lifting into your program, you can always have that spark because you are always just focusing on the next goal and what your personal goal is. So that's the really cool part for me is I always really look forward to our runs. And by also lifting, I always look forward to our lifting sessions because we're doing a little bit of both in our training.
Or when we're not so much like in this prep, like right now we're in that 12-week prep of half marathon, but like in our quote unquote off season, I think there was days where like we'd look outside and we'd be like, wow, it's a beautiful day. I think we're just going to run today. And that's the beauty in being able to do both is that, if it's a beautiful day and I just want to get some fresh air and, if we're working inside the gym all day and it's a good opportunity for us to kind of get away and recollect our thoughts and get some vitamin D and some fresh air. But I definitely think the combination has been super beneficial for me overall. And I was thinking too, when I was on a run on Tuesday, that longer run, and like running up hills before was so challenging for me. And I think back to like when we first started prep in our last half marathon and how challenging that was, and compared to now, it feels a lot better. But again, it's like that consistency of doing that over and over again. But I thought to myself as I'm running, I'm like, gosh, like if I wasn't weight training and I was just running, would this ever get easier?
Like hard.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like you need to continue, and that's what I was focusing on in my off season was like my legs a lot.
Strength,
because I had that knee injury and I was trying to fix some of my muscle imbalances and work on some tightness and mobility things too. But if I wasn't doing any of that stuff, I don't know that like some of those things would ever get easier if you were just running, like hit the ground running every single day. Like when are you actually going to see progress if you're not implementing more than just the same running, routine every day?
No, that's so true. Like it is the perfect combination. And you said something that kind of just like made me think. You said, it's a beautiful day outside. I'm just going to go run outside. What a blessing to like have the fitness and the health to make that decision to be able to go enjoy a run outside. I'm going to go run for 5 or 6 miles and it's going to be a great run and I'm going to enjoy doing it. And I think the takeaway from that is you have to do what makes you excited. You have to do what you love and you have to get fulfillment from your workouts. And that can change, over the years. I've done so many different like focuses with my fitness, and that's perfectly fine. That your fitness is going to evolve, your goals are going to evolve.
Phases.
But the main thing is if you can do both at any part of your life through any phase, at least a little bit of running and some strength training, or at least a little bit of strength training and some running, you're going to be able to accomplish amazing fitness goals. And you're just going to be able to, hey, it's nice outside. I'm going to go for a 6-mile run today just because, and I'm going to love it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to get so much fulfillment from that. Or, hey, I want to try lifting this heavy weight and I'm going to try and go for a PR today. And because you've put in that consistent work, you're able to do that and you see those rewards and you see that improvement over time. But it only happens if you can stay consistent with it and enjoy your program that you're doing, because that's what's just going to make you stay hungry, keep coming back for more, and just always looking for that next thing you can progress at. So you said that, I thought that was kind of cool, where if you'd have told me like 2 or 3 years ago, if it's nice outside and, hey, Jordan, it was 70 degrees the other day and you had a strength training session planned, but you said, you know what, I'm going to go for a 6-mile, 7-mile, 8-mile run today, and you're going to love it. I would have been like, you're crazy. You're smoking weed or something. Like, that's what I would have told you. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool. I think that's a very big blessing to be able to do both.
Yeah.
Strength training and running.
Yeah. And again, like in that season where you're not necessarily focused on one or the other, it's nice to be able to say evaluate yourself and say, okay, how do I feel today? How do my muscles feel? Could I hit a strength training workout? Do I have the motivation? Do I have the time? Like, what do I have time for? And so I think that's what's cool too, is just being able to go by how you feel and what you're feeling that day.
Yeah. When we're not in a prep, that's what we'll do. Like, we have an outline, we have a program, a template.
Yeah.
Now, when we're in prep, we are like to a T, like, here's the workout today, and this is what we're doing. Like, very structured, because we have an end goal and we know that the means justify the end. So we know that by sticking to that process and that program, we're going to see the outcome that we want to see. But when we're not in a prep, we just love to have fun with our fitness,
Yeah.
I think you've really helped me find that like love and enjoyment for my fitness again, where when I'm just by myself, I get this like lone wolf mentality and it's just like real hard mentality. And that's great, but it's just not as fulfilling when you're like, you come from that place of like, I don't want to say anger, because I'm not an angry person, but like aggression. Like, I used to have to like really get aggressive to like lift. And Alyssa knows that. Like, she's laughing right now because she knows.
Yikes.
Just go off on a story. Just tell some stories. Let's just hear it. Let's hear it. I love to hear it too. I love to hear it.
You're just thinking about that one time where you hit a deadlift PR, or maybe you didn't. I don't know. Maybe you're pissed because you didn't. And I think
she just knows I was screaming.
Yeah, and I think I had the headphones in, and I could hear the like anger through my headphones, and not that that's a bad thing.
No, not that. I mean, some people, if you're like a power lifter and like you gotta pick up some heavy weight, like you can't do that
with a smile on your face.
And a smile on your face. Like I know that, but I will say that I just, like, the other day I was lifting weights and I had some music on, and it was not super loud, and I was just having a great time lifting weights, and there are days where I do have to tap into that aggression a little more. Or, okay, I'm going to try and lift 550 pounds on deadlift today, or I'm going to go for a bench press PR. Okay, I'm going to need to be a little aggressive, but most of the time I do think that by doing both, it has kind of balanced me out a little bit better, and I do find more fulfillment from my workouts.
Yeah. I think too it's helped, and I don't want to speak for you, but I will speak for myself here too, but it's helped as a business owner and being in your space all the time, being able to step outside and get out of that too gives that mental health too. Like it's
for sure
good for the soul.
Yeah, sometimes like I'll start training at 5 a.m. Like that's usually my first session, and sometimes I don't finish until 6:30 at night. So like being able to check out for an hour and go for a run and then come back fresh mentally, that is I get so much fulfillment, and just I get to recharge my batteries a little bit.
Yeah,
not
you might
physically,
not be like
but
fresh,
mentally. Yeah, it might not be smelling fresh. What are you trying to say?
That's a whole nother story
That's a
for
whole
both
nother
of us.
topic,
Like
yeah.
in between sessions, you're getting all sweaty, and then
Yeah, but it does allow you to just recharge. And I think the biggest takeaway that I want people to take away from this podcast and this episode is you need to strength train, you need to run, not just for body composition goals or benefits, but for health benefits too as well.
Yeah.
And figure out what your goal is. It all ties back to your goal. Mm-hmm. What is your current goal? Structure a program around that goal. And if it's running more, lifting less, great, go do it. If it's lifting more, running less, go do it. Or if it's an equal balance of both, do it. Like that's perfect. But structure the program around your personal goals. Don't worry about what other people are doing, and just chase after your goal and what it is that you want to accomplish. Because we were just having a deep conversation and before this podcast, and you only get one life. Like you only get so many years, and I don't want people to waste those years not reaching for their personal goals. So that's my 2 cents on what I want people to take away from this episode and why
I love that.
I personally wanted to record this and talk about this topic.
Yeah, I love that. And that's kind of like leads to this point too. Like we're sharing what we're doing, not to say, hey, go do this. This is what works. You have to do this to get your half marathon, to prep for your half marathon. But it's just what we're doing, where we are in our phase of training and running.
Family,
business.
Family.
Like some people like who are training for half marathons, they're running more. Like this week we got 17 miles in, just a little over. And some people might be doing more, might be doing less, but that's okay. I mean, it just depends on what phase of life you're in, like you said, and the fulfillment that you get out of running and lifting and what you can manage and balance out between the two. But I think, it is important to figure out what exactly you are focusing on now. I think to wrap things up, that's the biggest takeaway is you can go back and forth between the two, more cardio, less cardio, more strength training, less strength training, level them out, like you said. But at the end of the day, it just depends on your current goals. So balancing them both out, if you can run in the morning, lift in the evening, or vice versa, the takeaway is just making sure that you're doing both. And
so this is everything that we're doing. So like I said, we just wanted to document this for everybody. It's not, like you said, it's not like do this. This is what we're doing. And if you're interested, we'd love for you to follow along in this process. So,
or we can help you.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This has been episode 2 of season 2 of the Grind, Sleep, Repeat podcast. Go check out some of our YouTube videos this week that we'll be posting to kind of dive deeper into these topics and document more of what we're doing in preparation for a half marathon. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.